Hello, everybody. Zogx 134 here.
This is the bullshit I put up with filming this fucking show.
What, you don't like my Barry from Sly Cooper voice?
I've never played fucking Sly Cooper, so no, I don't even recognize that reference.
What, are you British? Because they can't call it Sly Cooper over there because Cooper's a dirty word in Britain, so they have to call it Sly Raccoon.
I'm 2 seconds
Anyway.
from going in that fucking crawl space and getting the gun.
You know? Anyway, I'm Zogx 134.
And as always, I'm Average Joe's Boy.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Hyphen. Okay. So, as you all remember, a new Spider-Man movie's coming out. And I thought this took us the perfect opportunity to play a little game. Well, I say little game, but...
I know what game we're going to play, guys. Hold on.
He's gonna get... No. Fuck you. You have to finish Crossing by November. You know our promise. You know what you have to do. You have to finish the Crossing. Anyway.
We're going to play Spider-Man 2 for the Game Boy?
This is my penance for making the Bentley voice, isn't it?
I got it. We're going to play that one for the Commodore.
We're going to talk about our own pitches for Spider-Man scripts.
Atari 2600? I've got it. Let's play a tabletop RPG.
Well, there's only 2 of us. We need like at least 3 other people. Anyway, so I always thought this was kind of fun. I saw this on Comic Pop when they did an Elseworlds exchange. They talked about different pitches for different movies. So I thought, you know, why don't we do our own pitches for Spider-Man? Now, do you want to do yours first, or do you want me to do mine?
Let's go with yours first.
Okay, so... Yeah,
This was your idea.
Yeah, so the basic idea is I kind of came up with an idea for a 3-trilogy script, which admittedly, some of the later parts I don't have as fleshed out. But the basic idea is, first off, it's going to take place when Peter's in college. Because I kind of want him to grow up, but in my opinion, I think some of the best moments with Spidey were when he was a college student.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, that's, I think, when, like, Romita and Stan were doing it, and Gary Conway. Like, that's, like, in my opinion, like, where he was kind of in that sweet spot. Where basically, you know, Peter, he lives on his own, he has his own apartment, he works at the Daily Bugle, but I'm going to go, you know, kind of something different, but while staying the same. I'm going to go with the ultimate idea where he doesn't do photography, because, like, let's be honest, you pay, like, journalists to do that now. There's no such thing as, like, a separate photographer anymore. And so basically he's going to work as the web designer for the Daily Bugle's website. So that way, you know, he can still have the pulse of the news going on, and, you know, he can hear whenever things are going to go down, and that's when he goes into Spider-Man. You know, and basically he's been Spider-Man at least 3 years now. I want to say, you know, like, he's at least 18 at first, you know, at least. So he's taking down some villains, like, you know, I make reference to, like, you know, he's taking on guys like the Vulture, or, like, Sandman, or the Rhino. You know, but they're kind of like 2-bit hoods. He's not really dealt with, like, some of the more serious stuff yet. Well, basically, you know, at this point, he's kind of gotten, you know, Jameson on edge. And to make matters worse, the film actually opens on him rescuing a certain newspaper manager's son during a space shuttle act. Although I don't make
son, the astronaut.
I don't make it that it's like the Chameleon. It's more the space shuttle's having a breakdown and, like, it's malfunctioning.
Does that mean the main villain is Man-Wolf?
No, the main villain's not Man-Wolf. But he manages to... He's already there because basically his college professor, Miles Warren, you know, got Peter in because he wanted to show Peter some of the stuff because he helped work on some of the systems for it. And, you know, he saves you know, John, but it makes Peter look a little more heroic than he's ever before, because he actually did something really big. And so Jonah, you know, decides he's going to put a bounty on Spider-Man's head. You know, he's like, you know, I'll pay $1 million to whoever can bring me Spider-Man. Well, this catches the attention of one Spencer Smythe, because he wants to use that money to help with this device he's going to make to help his son Alistair walk again. His son, who's also in college, and is the lab partner of one Peter Parker. So already, Peter, and him and Alistair get along. Alistair thinks Peter's can be kind of an idiot, but he at least respects that Peter has some genius credibility. Certainly more than the guy that always annoys him, one Eddie Brock Jr., who's a bit older than Peter, but he's known Peter for a while. But they were friends because going with the ultimate thing, their parents used to be scientists that worked together until Peter's parents were in a plane crash, and that's all we know about the parents. Nothing else. Well, basically, Spencer decides to start studying other animals, particularly enemies of spiders, such as wasps and scorpions and bigger spiders like tarantulas. And, Peter, doesn't really think much of this bounty because, you have, guys with, guns and, some dudes with some military tech, but they can't really hold a candle to the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Which, if you also hadn't figured out, the name of this movie is, the first film is called Spider-Man Slayer's Moon. Because I like that title. Either that or Night of the Slayers, but I didn't want it to be too much like the TSA. And so basically, eventually Smythe starts making Slayers. Some that are drones, and some that are actually but they're little at first, so Peter can handle them pretty well. Problem is, Spencer gets obsessed. Because he needs this money. Even Alistair's dude, Dad, I get it, but you don't need it that bad. It's no, you don't understand, son. I need this money. Because I need to pay for this, or else I have to go to some shadier places. As if to hint the mob. But basically, Spencer keeps making more and more powerful symbiotes throughout the movie. Meanwhile, Peter and Alistair are becoming friends, and Alistair even, kind of you seem to be able to know where Spider-Man is. Do you happen to know him or something? No,
pulling the usual excuses and stuff.
And eventually, I do know one thing. Spider-Man's always there when there's trouble. So Alistair comes up with a plan, because one of the things that has been helping Peter escape these symbiotes is that he's been using the web fluid to slow them down. Well, basically, Alistair hires some thugs to break into a bank. And during that scuffle, Peter leaves some web fluid behind. Well, Alistair manages to get to it, and he gives it to his dad, who's oh, I can use this to make more powerful symbiotes. Well, the next time Peter fights a symbiote, it's a big spider robot that's been dubbed the Black Widow. Just to give a little Marvel nod there. Peter's even been Spencer, I don't want to tell you, but I think that name's copyrighted. But, Peter tries to do all the other things that... And so he, tries to web the exhaust ports on this thing. But his web fluid slides right off. But, Peter figures he's going to have to find another way, and basically he, leads it to, a chemical plant, and he dunks the thing in acid and just destroys it. Well, eventually Spencer, that's the final straw for Spencer, so he goes to J. Jonah's I know you want to pay $1 million, but if you pay me half of that up front, I can make the ultimate weapon to stop Spider-Man. And so basically that's the basic plot of the first movie. Eventually it leads to my big plan is to have Spencer in a giant tarantula mech. And it's the final fight between him and Peter. But unfortunately, during the fight, Peter accidentally damages the tarantula, so it goes haywire, and then, of course, kills Spencer, which kind of drives the friendship between Alistair and Peter apart. And Alistair's I swear vengeance on Spider-Man. If it's the last thing I do, I will get him. And then he's come across by someone's your father had some great ideas, and even though I can't help you walk, I can help you get even. He's why should I trust you? Because if it's one thing I know, the Kingpin makes good deals. So, you have the Kingpin.
Introduce the Kingpin.
Yeah. Admittedly, some of my ideas are kind of coming from TSA, where, Kingpin gives Alistair... But, Peter's been, because, so one of the ideas I want to have is, some of the criminals Peter's taking down are, Kingpin guys. So, he's becoming a thorn in Kingpin's side. which leads into the next film, Sting of the Scorpion, where, Jonah, ashamed of what happened, because he does feel partly responsible for Spencer, he goes to Alistair, and Alistair's like, working for the Kingpin, but he's been working on a subject. Instead of having Slayers that are robotic, he wants to make a Slayer that has a human controller, but less so like his father. Basically, he wants to make an exoskeleton. The Scorpion suit, more or less. And so, he wants Jonah, to also help get his funds in, and find someone that they can use to put in the suit. And so basically, he goes like, I've got just the guy. There's a private investigator I work with, and he'll be perfect because he'll be perfect because he's pretty strong. One Mac Gargan, a down his luck private eye. And of course, Jonah's like, I'll pay you money, and all you have to do is help eliminate Spider-Man. Well, unfortunately, what Smythe doesn't tell him is that the suit, once it's on, it attaches to the nervous system so that the tail can be operated by your mind. So once he's in the suit, it can't come off. And so, the next movie is going to be called Sting of the Scorpion, and it's going to be, basically Peter going up against a foe that's built to kill him again, but this time it's kind of like the whole Scorpion versus Spider thing, because Scorpions are the natural predators of spiders. And it basically, what's really going on is that, Spencer's making this suit so that he can eventually control him for the Kingpin, and he can have be a weapon for the Kingpin as well. Unfortunately, Mac, doesn't like that he's being used that way, and breaks the control unit that, eventually he goes haywire. He tries to kill Jonah, and eventually, the ending of the film will be he kidnaps John because he wants to get even with Jonah, and of course it has to lead into the Peter fighting this guy. And this film will be great because basically Alistair drops out of school. Peter feels really guilty about that, and he tries to talk Alistair down, but Alistair's like, no, I'm going to kill Spider-Man, which ruins their friendship. And there's also going to be a subplot in here where Eddie has found some sort of information that he thinks that he can help Peter get an edge on this guy. An old project that Eddie's father and Peter's father were working on, known as the Venom suit, an artificial cancer suit. But he wants to test it on someone, and Peter also is like, oh, this might be dangerous, because he also studies it because he's like, because Eddie's like, I want you to take some of this so that we can see if this will work. And so Peter figures out that he can use this to amplify his strength because he tests it out on his own blood. And he sees that not only does it boost up the immune system, it boosts his spider powers. And so that's how he beats Scorpion at the end of this film. He uses the cancer suit, giving him the black suit. And it's going to look like the actual black suit, not it's going to look cool. And that's how he beats him. And this also splinters his friendship with Eddie, because Eddie's like, you gave Spider-Man our suit? And he's like, no, Brock, you don't understand. I gave it to Spider-Man because I figured I wanted to test it on someone who's stronger than us, but it kind of wedges their relationship. And so Peter, feeling guilty, gives him back the cancer suit because he's like, I feel bad. But Eddie decides to test it. What he doesn't know is that being on Spider-Man has altered the suit. And the movie ends, with the suit going out of control and pulling Eddie into the shadows, which ends with showing the big set of teeth, which leads into the third film.
Kind of reminiscent of the McFarlane panel that is really, really famous.
Yeah, it ends with showing, the eyes and the teeth. And, of course, he defeats Scorpion, but Atlas sets Kingpin to rage, and he's like, I need you to kill Spider-Man. And so this makes Alistair go even further over the edge.
Yeah.
Because basically the idea is I want Alistair to kind of be kind of a recurring villain throughout the whole 3 trilogy. Which leads into, of course, the final film, which is going to be... I kind of like the idea that it would be called, something like how each one has a different, like, I kind of want, like, maybe Vengeance of Venom, or maybe even call it, like, Spider-Man Symbiosis to kind of reference the symbiote. But this one will be a big thing, because basically the Kingpin, you know, basically, like, comes across this monster that's been killing people left and right, particularly his own men. Well, turns out the symbiote's been making Eddie crazy, and he wants to get revenge on everyone, because basically he more or less figures out that his parents and the Parkers were on the same plane, and that the plane crash was not an accident, that the Kingpin murdered them because Eddie's dad had taken a loan with the Kingpin and didn't pay him back. And so the Parkers were just a byproduct of that. Well, basically, Kingpin's like, okay, I can't control him, but I think Alistair can. And so he, like, eventually, Alistair's like, I don't think I can beat him, but basically, I kind of want to, I think the idea I had was that, like, during the fight with the Scorpion, there's a moment where Peter's briefly succumbed because, like, they're fighting, like, in the subway, and the subway passes by, and the sound's really loud, so it causes the cancer suit to freak out. Because, like, the cancer suit's normally supposed to, you're supposed to be recovering, so it was never tested around, like, around places where, so he was always in, like, a contained space where it was quiet. And, of course, it'll still be weak to fire, because, like, eventually Peter finds, like, tapes of, like, them testing the suit, and turns out fire is really dangerous to this thing. Well, eventually, like, Alistair will catch Venom using, like, a sound generator, or a sound cage. And while he doesn't think he can control Venom, he does think he has a way that it might be able to give him his legs back. And he gives himself the symbiote, but it's not Carnage, what you're thinking of. Basically, he uses it to create anti-Venom. Because he's like, I think I can control it by merging some of the suit with my own blood cells. And of course, unfortunately, it makes him, like, freak the fuck out. I was even going to have, like, an idea where, like, he tries to fight Peter during this. Because, like, he's been looking for Eddie, because he's known Eddie's been going crazy. Which makes it worse, because, like, Eddie's... The Venom symbiote, because it was bonded with Peter, his spider sense is like, crap, it thinks the suit's a part of me, so I can't find him. Well, eventually, Alistair comes to him, because the anti-Venom, because it's merging up with the white blood cells, it's technically a different creature. Well, he fights Alistair, but unfortunately, while the suit is allowing him to walk, because it's merged with his immune system, it's racking his body, because, like, his body, like, his natural defense system is out of his body. It puts a lot of strain on him. Well, eventually, Alistair gets a new idea. He's like, I'll let Eddie loose, let them fight it out, and then I'll just kill them both. And Kingpin's like, how are you going to do that? Don't worry, I still have some leftover parts from Gargan. So he modifies the Venom symbiote with pieces of the Scorpion suit. It's like he's like a Venom Scorpion monster thing.
Which I'm assuming is a nod to when Gargan was Venom in the comics for a period.
Yeah. So eventually, he lets Venom loose because Alistair's like, Spider-Man, if you want to save Brock, but it turns out, Brock's loose. And so Peter has to fight both of them. Well, actually, he fights Venom first, because Alistair's like, I want to watch and see what happens. What he doesn't know is, Peter has come prepared. Like, he's actually created, like, a new web fluid that is actually lights on fire. Like, he brings, like...
it's kind of like the flaming web that's in the PS1 game. We were actually just playing that a little earlier. And, like, he has that, and he also... He whips out impact webbing to, like... So, like, he shoots it into Venom's mouth to, like, cause it to, like, explode so that the suit's separated from Eddie. He pulls Eddie out, and then he destroys the Venom suit. Mm-hmm. Which, unfortunately, weakens Brock, because Brock's like, no! Why would you do that? And so Peter finally, like, is like, because Eddie, I know what power does to someone without responsibility. And, Eddie's like, Peter, I'm sorry, Eddie, I wanted to tell you, but unfortunately, Alistair's also watching, which just pisses him off even more. He's like, Peter, you killed my father? It was an accident, and so it leads in this big fight. Eddie helps because he's like, he realizes that, Peter, he may not have done it the right way, but, like, kind of being like, I know he, like,
Yeah, but basically, like they have to work together, basically to. Well, but yeah, like. I also kind of want to have. I have this idea. It's like, maybe after Alistair like dies or like like basically like the fight would lead to Alistair like going like hurt like dying from overextending himself. He's like he basically decides to tell Peter and Eddie, the man who hired me is the one who killed your father, the Kingpin. And so Peter goes to confront the Kingpin, but the Kingpin's got all these extra Slayers that
that's
left behind. And this here, I kind of want to be clever because like Disney owned Fox. I want to have an idea where some of the Slayers are built on like horror movie and stuff. I want to have one of the Slayers be basically the alien, the Xenomorph, and the Predator. And so Peter's
kind of cool. I would like.
And
that.
Peter's like, well, I knew Alistair was a movie buff. I didn't think he'd make like
a Xenomorph.
Yeah, and like it ends with Peter fighting like these monsters and defeating the Kingpin. And so like that's the kind of like the basic idea I have, where like it like I want to kind of do like the Slayers because I've always wanted to see the Spider Slayers on like in film. Like I know they're kind of lame in the comics, but like as someone who grew up with TSA, like I would love to see the Slayers and like kind of make Alistair more interesting by making him like a friend to Peter and kind of give like that tragedy. Even kind of do some like the Ultimate stuff to kind of make it like, because I don't like saying like I want to do it different for maybe, but like I want to kind of do my own universe and kind of like, but like, and that's kind of my idea, like, and then use like Scorpion because it like makes sense to make Scorpion kind of be like a Spider Slayer but like a human.
Yeah. And
then do Venom because that's like another kind of like anti-Spider-Man weapon in a sort of way. Like that's kind of like the basic idea I had. I thought maybe like I'd have Gwen too, just because like, not like because I don't like Mary Jane, just because I'm like, why not?
Kind of mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, like have Gwen like, and not only that, like have Gwen like know Peter's Spider-Man, like they've been dating for a while too, like kind of like maybe even have that him and Gwen live together. And kind of have Miles Warren if I want to set up like a Clone Saga, or just have Miles be there kind of like as a nod to the comics. But that's my basic idea for like a 3-movie idea.
Yeah, I kind of had coming into this. I had a couple ideas that I really thought about. 2 of which I'm going to talk about, because I don't really want to pick.
Real quick though, you mind talking about mine real quick before, like just what you?
I really like it. Like I really like how you've blended stuff.
Yeah.
Like you've got like the Ultimate stuff in there. You got like the 616 stuff / TAS with the Slayers and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it feels fresh. It's not like we're kind of like we're trying to actively do something different.
Yeah,
kind of like what the web problems had the issue with.
Like,
but we're also having access to everything.
Yeah, because like I want to do something. Like, cause I don't want to just do like the Goblin again or Dr. Octopus again. Like I do want to do Venom, but that's mostly because I think Venom. I want to do like a Venom that's not just Tom Hardy's Venom where it's separate. I want to do like a Venom that is Peter's bad guy, and he's also going to be a big motherfucker too. He's not going to be little with like the
like the Topher one.
Yeah, and I also I might use Kingpin, or I might do that Osborn Industries is working without.
See, I think it'd be better if you went with Kingpin because that, like we've done Osborn. I mean, I love Norman being a villain.
Yeah,
which we'll talk about when we get into mine, but. The idea of using Kingpin, especially if we bring Kingpin from the Daredevil show in, well, I think would just be fucking fantastic because it's a different villain. It's something new.
And I also kind of want to open up the idea that maybe like we could do like other characters, like even have Spider-Man and Daredevil in like a movie together.
Yeah, like team up kind of to go up against Fisk.
Yeah, if this does well and they want to make more. I also wanted to kind of like humanize Jonah because while I love the Jonah in the Raimi films, I do admit sometimes he kind of comes off as just being like a caricature.
Yeah.
I kind of want to like give a reason for why he hates Spider-Man more than just that he's a mass menace. Like he made his son look bad here, even though like that's not really. And also kind of give John. Okay, it's always feel bad. He was in 2, and they did nothing with him. But, I'm glad you noticed that I wanted to do kind of something like the TAS.
Yeah, I really noticed that was you're blending stuff, but I think the way you've described it really works.
Yeah.
Because while it is different from certain aspect, you've kind of got like the Raimi trilogy vibe going where for the most part it's very very faithful to the source material.
Because he's not gonna he's very much the 616 Peter. I just kind of want to like I wanted to modernize some stuff to make it more like him being the web designer for the Daily Bugle. That makes more sense than him being like like I became a photographer for this really prestigious newspaper at 16, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I want to do Gwen just because more because I want to do just Gwen because it'd be a little different. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. But anyway, I'm glad you at least enjoyed it. Cause,
I really liked it.
It's not completely
I'd almost like to see
but...
it like you write it like a fanfic almost. I'd read it.
Yeah, and I wanted to do a Peter who he's experienced, but it's not like he's
he's seen it all basically.
Yeah, I want to hint to he's fought guys like the Vulture. I don't want it to be these are the first big super villains he's fought. Just that, the Vulture and the Rhino, they're cool, but they're not big deals sort of things.
Yeah, but and like I said, I really like it. Now, who would you cast? Would you keep certain aspects from the current films? Would you bring actors back? Would you bring actors from other sources? Well,
I definitely would bring J.K. Simmons back for...
Oh, certainly.
Because I think I could get J.K. to be it's Jonah, but you get to, you don't just... He's not just a goofy, silly
He's got story to him.
He's got story to him. I didn't really think about casting. That's the thing I didn't think about. I might keep Tom as Peter, because I do want him to be kind of a youthful Peter, but, not Maybe even bring Andrew in. Kind of have him, because I think Andrew kind of is he's in the middle.
He's kind of in between.
Yeah, basically. He's got experience, but he doesn't have the experience that Tobey's Spider-Man would have. But I don't want him to be so inexperienced. He's Tom's Spider-Man. So maybe I would do Andrew. This would be Andrew's Spider-Man. Maybe I could even bring in lady who played Gwen in the web films.
Oh, Emma Stone.
Emma Stone. That might be good. That might actually. I would do that. As far as who I'd pick for Alistair, I don't know who I'd pick. Spencer, I don't know who I...
You know who I could really see pulling him off? Who was the actor that played Luthor in the recent Snyder films?
Oh, Michael Cera.
I could kind of see him.
Yeah, he'd be great as Alistair, actually.
I could see him really pulling that off.
Because I want to play him he's smart and kind of he acts like he's above people, but
yeah.
But when Peter talks to him, it almost seems like Alistair realizes,
Yeah, and I think that guy can really pull off the both sides of it. Getting both sides of the coin.
I don't know who I'd pick for Eddie Brock Jr.
Bring Topher back. No,
Carl Urban.
Carl Urban. You always want to make Carl Urban be in this. As far as you didn't make either Carl Urban with Spider-Man.
No,
just for that, I'll throw him in my first pitch when we get to it. I'll throw him in there just to make you happy.
I can't make him Carl Urban is Batman to me. I can't make him. He's I need you need someone who's a wisecracker, which I think.
Imagine Carl Urban as Daredevil.
I can only get so erect.
You can only get so erect over that idea.
Oh, holy shit, that would be amazing.
Like a dark fucking Daredevil film.
Oh my god, he could do Daredevil, the one where he Kingpin beats it. Daredevil Rebirth. Oh, that'd be so good. I'm not sure who I'd pick for Eddie. Maybe I'd just say Tom Hardy anyways, even though he's way too old.
I can see that working.
Because I want him to be almost a senior in college or a grad student. Because I want him to be a little bit older than Peter, but he's still a friend to Peter. But I don't know who I'd
get the guy that played Rick Flag. He might be too old though. You kind of get what I'm going for.
Oh, I know.
Maybe the guy that played Polka Dot Man. I could see him doing that.
Yeah, Polka Dot Man would be great for
He would kind of nail that
Yeah.
awkwardness that there is to Eddie Brock.
Yeah, he'd have to work out though, because I want him to be buff because I want he had to work out to handle a symbiote. It feeds on adrenaline, Parker, or Spider-Man. I see you probably have some sort of superpower that allows your adrenaline to boost. So I had to work out and constantly keep myself on edge.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be he would actually work really well. But anyway, I don't know who I'd pick for Kingpin. Well, probably Kingpin. I just use the Netflix.
Yeah, the Netflix one.
I don't know who I'd pick for Spencer. Maybe Gary Oldman. I feel like Gary Oldman would probably work for Spencer.
I could see that.
I think Gary Oldman would be kind of cool. But yeah, that's my basic premise, because I want to do something like I said, I want to do something that was never seen before, and a villain that because I always think that the comic books movies always should have an opportunity, if they can, to do villains that
you haven't really seen
before. Like with Batman,
just to kind of like expose them to a new audience.
Like with Batman, like while I love the new Matt Reeves Batman, like it's gonna have all these villains. Like I want to see like real Zaz, or like I want to see like the Riddler, like not like. I mean, granted, we're
not like Zodiac looking Riddler.
Yeah, because like I want him to be almost like if Jigsaw from Saw was merged with like a cheesy '90s like game show host. Like I want him to look the part, but like still have like the sadistic side to him with the puzzles, like kind of like the Arkham games Riddler. But like I want to do the symbiotes or the Slayers because like I don't think they're ever going to do the Slayers, and I figured that would also be a really good way to leap into a Scorpion film. Like what are your thoughts on me doing like Scorpion?
Like I like the idea of doing Scorpion because we really haven't seen him.
Yeah,
in a film, and again, like I said, I'm all kind of agreeing with you. I'm really for bringing in villains we haven't seen before because as much as I like bringing in the A-level people, it's always nice to kind of have some new stuff or like some villains like we don't really normally see.
Yeah.
Kind of like when they had like Shocker in Homecoming, or when the snippet of fucking Rhino at the end of TASM 2. Like, just the idea of bringing in these like lesser known villains. Mm. The Raimi games were really good at that. You know, where they had like Vulture in there or Shocker or Puma, like all these like villains that like you weren't really seeing.
Actually, I think I came up with an idea for who Gargan be. I know I said made a joke about Tom Hardy should do Scorpion because I think he could do like that.
That'd be kind of cool. I would like that.
And he would because I also want him to be like taller because I want to really hint at the Scorpion is like he's bigger than Spider-Man, so he's stronger and he's got like like that was my idea for Scorpion because I wanted an enemy like Venom where it's like it's clearly built to be more powerful than Spider-Man, but like that way like Spider-Man still has like his agility, but I also kind of want to make an enemy so powerful that maybe Peter would have to resort to the symbiote, which is also why I wanted to do like having him like resort to using the cancer suit thing to like I don't know what this is gonna do to me, but I don't got a choice. If I'm gonna match Scorpion, I gotta. And so he uses yeah. Anyway, I think we've talked enough about mine. I kind of wanted to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, like I said, I really liked it. I really like it a lot.
Yeah. We might have to flesh this out one of these days. Yeah. Anyway, your pitches.
Okay, so I have two different ones. Okay, one's gonna kind of be like a traditional type of movie deal. The other one I was really thinking about. Like, what could we do that would be, like, different? Because I don't... Kind of like what you were saying, I don't want to just rehash what we've already seen.
Yeah.
I want to try to go for something different. And, like, I was kind of thinking about, like, what... Like, the best comics for Spider-Man, I feel, are the ones that, they try something different. Like, not just, like, the ones that you and I like, but, like, the ones that, like, people universally are, like, these are considered the best.
Yeah.
Like, Kraven's Last Hunt, or... Maximum Carnage, or Night Gwen Stacy Died. Like, these ones that kind of take a chance to do something different. So I was thinking, why not only do something with, like, a different subject matter?
You want to make Spider-Man Captain Universe.
No. That'd be cool as fuck. They ain't never going to do that.
No, they're not.
I want to do a mini-series.
Oh, you want to do a mini-series?
I mean, because kind of like how they're thinking about doing, like, the Silk TV show.
Okay.
Like how Sony's kind of do, like... Do something that's like a mini series, like even like a TV series, you know? Okay. Because I remember, like, a buddy of ours, Jared, really talked about. He always felt Spider-Man would work better in a TV style because that way it's like episodic with each style.
Fair. I think it's a little unfair to Spider-Man movie-wise.
Well, no. He thinks they work better as movies as well, but he kind of thinks they could do it as TV shows as well. Gotcha, so I was really thinking about that. It kind of kept popping in. Mm-hmm. So I was really thinking, I'm like, what if we do like a mini series or something like that?
All right.
And let's have it about Gwen Stacy dying, okay? Now, I know we already did that in Spider-Man 2, so I'm sure some people are like, you just said you don't want to rehash nothing, but we've already seen it.
Yeah, but let's be honest, they didn't really do it that well. So,
well, what I'm thinking is we do it kind of like a murder mystery type of deal. Okay. We're going to try something different, Mm-hmm. So we have it that, like, say it's years after Gwen's death, okay? Which, let's say it's still an open investigation because they don't know who Norman is.
Gotcha. Okay.
They don't know who Spider-Man is, so they don't know who to blame. You have some people in the force that like say they think it's Spider-Man, and they think the other ones think it's the Goblin. They think it's pretty clear about it.
Yeah.
So the whole time, meanwhile, it's been years that have passed, so it's kind of like a cold case, you know. So we have not only that part of it, where we kind of start, and this is kind of where the risk comes in. The early part of it, we don't really focus on the Spider-Man part of it. We have. Okay. I wouldn't even say you start the first episode right off the bat with that happening, Gwen dying. I'd say we start with we could even have somebody going through the newsprints of it, or the reels.
Maybe a police detective, like a Jean DeWolf.
Kinda like Joan DeWolf is involved with it.
Okay, I was wondering.
We could even have there's a PI involved with it, maybe Jessica Jones gets involved with it.
Ooh, actually, that's good too.
And these people that don't know Peter is Spider-Man, obviously, and since it's been years, so it's kind of like they start digging it up, trying to figure out there's got to be something going on with this case,
Okay.
There's got to be a reason, that. We were never able to solve it, or we say they had the best minds in the force on it, and they weren't able to. They were able to kind of sniff kind of close, but they weren't able to get there totally.
Gotcha.
So they start trying to pick around. Okay, maybe there's an angle we haven't really looked at before.
Gotcha.
Who was Stacy close with at the time? So they start asking and interviewing Peter and Mary Jane and Harry. Because obviously Captain Stacy's dead at this point.
Yeah.
So it starts kind of becoming. They start to they kind of start to suspect that. Well, who would have a logical motive for this? Who can we not account for, whereabout-wise at the time? They start thinking Peter's involved somehow. But not they don't know if he's the Goblin. They don't know if he's Spider-Man. But they don't even really want to say that we think you're involved somehow.
Yeah.
But they're also kind of it's just suspicious that, we can't account for you and where you are. Because we have people that can credibility be where was Mary Jane during this? Well, you can say she was at Aunt Anna's, so there's witnesses, that you can place. You have alibis in place for a lot of these people.
Yeah, but Peter can't because he's being Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they start kind of sniffing close, they start really grilling Peter about it. And this is kind of where I think we also take another risk doing this kind of stuff, but I feel it kind of fits in with doing a police and murder mystery.
Yeah, this actually is pretty interesting.
Period pieces are hot right now, so we start having Peter start telling it in kind of flashbacks.
Yeah,
so we kind of get the early '70s vibe with everything.
Okay.
We start seeing flashbacks and stuff. What was kind of going on at that point with Gwen, MJ, Peter,
Harry,
Flash, all these different people. So we kind of have a story within a story, where Peter's trying to tell the story in a way that he's being truthful
without revealing
that he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where they kind of really start getting him, everything you've kind of told us really matches up, and it kind of gets you off the hook, but you still haven't told us where you were the night Gwen was thrown off the bridge. And it kind of... I almost want to leave it on a cliffhanger almost, but I don't want to do that. I kind of want to keep it going to where we get kind of a resolution to it, and then I kind of want to. The idea I had was, there's a private investigator who also started you have besides Jessica, you could almost have it that Jessica starts working with the police about this, and her and Joan DeWolf are talking, and she's you're not the only one who asked me to like look into this. Oh, and it's like who's the other one? It's Miles Warren.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we kind
of I didn't see this
because I'm thinking I've always wanted to see them do Clone Saga.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't think it would work in just a trilogy because it's just too big.
Yeah, it really is.
I really think the only way you can tell it is in a mini series.
Yeah.
And so we kind of have that be the cliffhanger at the end is that it's Miles Warren.
Yeah.
And then you start having the whole time that Peter's being grilled, they keep coming back to him, but he's still doing Spider-Man stuff.
Is Norman dead or is
Norman's thought to be dead.
Yeah.
Thought to be dead.
Gotcha.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I'm thinking even you have the reveal that Miles Warren was involved, and have it that the cliffhanger ending, if you want to do a cliffhanger, is have it that Norman reappears as the Goblin, So you have it that, the police are instantly like, okay, well, if he's out there, then it's got to be that Peter wasn't involved because the Goblin's there. It can't be in both spots. Like, you could even have it at this point. They've kind of narrowed out that it's like, hey, it can't be Spider-Man because, he was involved in all this other stuff at the time, that wasn't really the MO.
Yeah, like the
you can kind of have it that Joan DeWolf will gradually, and Joan DeWolf and Jessica kind of eventually rule it out.
Yeah, okay.
That, hey, it has to be the Goblin.
Yeah.
So does that mean Peter's the Goblin? And so it kind of goes with that.
Okay.
And it's like, how could Peter be getting all these great shots of Spider-Man all the time if he wasn't someone either A, that was Spider-Man, or someone that was an enemy of Spider-Man that would have been able to keeping tabs on him.
Okay.
So they still kind of are going with the angle that he's the Goblin. So you end like the first season or like the first batch of episodes on. You can even do like an 8-episode run like Disney does.
Okay.
Have it end with the reemergence of the Goblin. Okay, and then like. I really think that you could even just end it there. Like, you have it on, like, a cliffhanger ending that, like is kind of a resolution, where it's like, Peter's kind of cleared about it, like, they don't think it's him now because, okay, he's here, it's obviously not the Goblin.
Yeah.
And then you end with, like, you could even have, like, an epilogue episode after that. Say, like, the final episode is, we do, like, a Spider-Man Blue style thing.
Okay.
Kind of like I kind of want to say like you've had that vibe the entire series.
Well,
the ending was really.
It's funny you mention that because the whole time when you talked about the after like talking about
doing the period piece,
I'm like, oh, you're doing Spider-Man Blue. I see.
Yeah, and like the ending was really the only part I really just couldn't figure out how to get really nailed down to where it would be a solid ending.
That was where I kind of wanted to come in with the Joan thing. You have it that eventually Peter just breaks because like Joan's like, look, Peter. It's clear to me you're Spider-Man. Did you kill Gwen? And it just goes like, he breaks down into tears. He's like, I loved Gwen. I did everything I could to save her. But I couldn't leave the Goblin. So I made a terrible choice. I tried to save her with my web. I had all the great power I could. It was my responsibility to save Gwen. And I failed. So if you want, you could even say I killed. Like,
yeah, kind of like Joan with that.
And Joan suddenly just see like, it's not, and like she lets him go. She's like, it's not him. It was the like.
Yeah.
He told me he knows Spider-Man. Spider-Man failed, but it like, he gave us a pretty good reconstruction. Like maybe or even just have be like. It can't be him.
I could just tell.
I could just like
call it intuition.
Yeah, she actually lets Peter go because she realizes that it wasn't really his fault. It was just a terrible tragedy. But like mostly because I would do like the really sad bit. They even have it end that like
you want to do like a MASH style ending.
Well, no, have it like Peter after he does this. He web swings away to Gwen's grave, and it does that like that really powerful shot like imagery of Peter like Spider-Man at the grave, and that's where it ends. It's just him putting his hand on the grave, and that's. Like to really hammer in the.
My idea I had with like who we're gonna cast like this was an idea I had.
Okay.
For the flashbacks, have it be Garfield, Shailene Woodley, Emma Stone, like the web people.
Mm-hmm.
For the present day, do Toby and Kirsten.
Oh, that's good.
Have both.
That's actually really good. I like that.
Like,
I like
have it
that a lot.
like that way like you can kind of. You can appease both of those groups,
Yeah, that's
not dissing anything on the Hall and stuff, but I feel like this would be kind of a nice send off to both if they did it like this.
That'd actually be really good. I actually really like that.
Yeah,
that's actually really clever on your part.
Yeah, like I said, I like what you went with because, like I said, the ending was just the idea. I couldn't figure out how to get the ending.
That's why I would have went with Joan because like Joan, in my opinion, would be like a great ally for Peter, and then like she even like is doing this because like. You may not say she's in love with Peter because I would actually make Joan much older, like a grizzled older female cop, but make it be like she knows that Spider-Man does a lot of good. She wants to prove Spider-Man's innocence, but like and so like that's what makes her let him go finally is because she realizes that. Well, yeah, Peter was responsible for her death in a way. It was she realizes it wasn't because it was because. At the end of the day, like. She got between the Goblin and Spider-Man. And she paid make it really really a fucking rough ending.
Yeah, and we're not going to bring up Sin's past. That's not that.
No, fuck that.
That's not canon. That's not.
I do like. I like your idea of like the Goblin coming back, but like for me, if I were good, like to do like
like I said, you have it that the Goblin shows up. You know, you can even have it that it's not a big focal point; it just happens. Yeah. That way, you kind of leave the back door open if you want to like do a continuation of it.
Yeah, and maybe even be like Joan being like, "You gonna go after him?" I will, but not right now. There's somewhere I need to be, and then he goes to the grave, and that's how the.
Yeah.
So like you could like because I feel like if you do this miniseries right, you would get another series anyways. But
yeah, well, and I like the idea of just like. You know, like, you could have all these, like, with the flashback stuff. The flashback was really what I was like, I would love to see that, because you could have all these iconic moments from that era of Amazing, you know? And you could even have it, you know, have it that you have the triple narration going on between, you're getting stuff where it's like, it's Peter's side of it, you have Mary Jane's side of it, and you have Harry's side of it, you know? So it all kind of morphs into, you know, them trying to untangle what was going on at that point.
Oh, you know what you could call this miniseries? After Spider-Man's Tangled Web.
You could do that. That'd be kind of dope.
Because I think like that, yeah. Like, even have it be like even have Joan at some point be like, seems the spider's web is really tangled or something like that.
You know what would be equally as crazy of an idea of another episode, like say like it's an epilogue to epilogue. Mm-hmm. Have it be Gwen's perspective right up to that point when she got kidnapped.
Oh, that's good too.
You know, like that could be like, they're talking about like, you know, they get the epilogue where that's the thing with the grave, you know, and they could be like, do the post credit. Oh, and we'll do a post credit, and it's Joan DeWolf and Jessica and them like talking. It's like, you know, there's one thing I keep wishing, and it's like I wish we could just reconstruct what Gwen's perspective was on all of this. You know, and then you could have another episode where it's like, it's Gwen's perspective.
Oh, that's good too. I also had an idea for a good stinger if you wanted to do it. That Goblin, we see the Goblin go to wherever it was flying to, and you know, Miles there like, oh, I see the glider. You've gotten used to the new glider and the power I've given you. Well, Warren, I have to say, and it's actually fucking Harry.
That would be fucking insane.
like Miles it's like, I couldn't completely reconstruct your father's genetics, but I figured the Goblin formula would do you well, Harry, after all.
See, that would be the best way to do it, and then like we kind of continue with the next season with like, it kind of like, you know, we're still kind of doing the murder mystery, like it's still in the background, but we're also trying to like do this now. Like, maybe that would be like a weird tonal shift, and maybe that would kind of throw some people off, but I really think like, I almost don't want to do a sequel. Like, leave it open.
Well, like just like to give like potential ideas, even if you like. If you were to,
you kind of see where I was going with like do something totally different than what we've seen.
Yeah, but like the Harry idea actually gave me. You do. Like the next miniseries is about Harry seeing his father become the Goblin from his perspective, and like you do all the you know, even have it that like you know, do like how in the comics where Harry was there the night of the final fight between Spider-Man and the Goblin, and that's why he. Like, no one knows that Norman's the Goblin because he took the suit off him. Yeah. Like, do stuff like that.
You can kind of have, like, almost like a Return of the Joker type of thing. Yeah. Where, like, Peter's like, yeah, it can't be Norman. He's dead. I watched it.
Yeah, and maybe even, like, if you were to continue the finale of that series is Harry and him fighting. And you can even do that, like, where it's like, your father was a madman, Harry. No, my father loved me. He never...
Oh, you want to do, like, the duology thing?
Yeah, and even have Peter be like, he killed Gwen, Harry. Yeah. And that's, like... Sorry, I know I'm kind of, like, leeching off your, like, but, like... You kind of.
No, I like this. Like we're like I said, I didn't really have an ending nailed down.
Yeah.
I just had the idea of like, do a murder mystery like period type.
Yeah, and I know you want to do Clone Saga, but it kind of gave me an idea like.
No, I like this a lot more.
Where we're like Harry, like, oh, that'd be really good, and then maybe even have like, because like you get like after you do all this, the final season is a Mary Jane season where it's, and it goes even further back where it shows that she. Because like at this point, she hasn't told Peter that she knows he's Spider-Man, and the first episode of the Mary Jane season.
Oh, you want to have it like it's that Amazing 15?
Yeah, where she watches him. Yeah, and so like she like, you have it that like it like shows like the entire like almost like it's a prequel in a sense where it shows like all that stuff. Maybe even have it that it ends with her and Peter getting together and like it ends like the Blue where she's like, you know.
Well, and even then, what I think would be the best way to do it would be like, you know, like they're, you have it that like, I would say if you were gonna do a Mary Jane season, you end it with, you know, Peter's off like doing Spider-Man stuff, and you just have Mary Jane like looking at a picture of her, Gwen, and Peter all together, and then it flashes back to that famous panel where MJ stays after Gwen's death.
Yeah. Oh, that's
have that be the ending, basically.
Yeah, that's
and then the final shot is the door shutting, basically.
Yeah, that's good too.
Because there's a lot you could do with that. Because my thoughts immediately when you brought that up was I went to that Marvel Comics 1-page thing by Gary Conway where it was MJ talking about Gwen.
Well, because like I like the idea about like because like actually like you did like maybe even like I like the idea of having like Harry, MJ, the people that were closest to Gwen. Each different miniseries could be about
like each season is about like.
I mean, granted, like
even like at the very most, like do an episode each.
Yeah, like even if you didn't want to do like that whole thing, you could like do it from different perspectives too. But like, I like the idea of like if it were to continue on, like you could do a lot of really clever things given your whole flashback idea.
Yeah, I think that's just something they kind of touched on it in Spider-Man 3 with the flashbacks, and I'm just like. If done right, flashbacks are a very interesting way to tell a story. Yeah, and
this kind of gives me a vibes of Rashomon, where it's the story's told from different perspectives, and it gives you a little bit.
Well, and like even like the idea of like doing like a Gwen epilogue.
Yeah, like
really kind of like I don't know if you've ever seen like the movie The Lovely Bones.
I think I've seen
where it's the dead girl is narrating it the whole time. You, like kind of have like that kind of a vibe.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea too. That's really interesting. And if you wanted to do a Clone Saga thing, you could have the epilogue. You think it's from a dead Gwen's perspective, and then it's Miles opening up the pod to make the clone.
Yeah, and that could be its own. That could be like a separate series, basically.
Yeah, that would be. No, I actually really like your miniseries idea. At first, I was like, I don't know. But
no, I was like, stay with me.
No, I'm glad I stayed.
I have an idea
because this is that's really good.
I kind of want to turn this into like a fanfic now, almost because it's really cool.
No, it is really good. What was your?
The other one was. It's gonna sound so stereotypical. Yo, can I get a goddamn Spider-Girl movie, please?
If you like, I don't see any problem with that.
Because my idea is like, do like, I almost feel like if they wanted to do this, okay, I have a way even you could tie it in A Way Home.
Yeah.
Okay, have it that the Goblin's about to kill Peter and Garfield at the end of it, like Holland and Andrew Garfield's Peters.
Yeah.
And then Toby shows up. He and the Goblin have this last down fight, and there's this big explosion, and you think that, they're both dead.
Yeah.
So you could kind of have like that Endgame Tony Stark vibe to it.
Yeah.
But not really, because then Peter's alive, but he lost his leg.
Ooh, okay.
But the Goblin's dead, but he's lost his leg. So the end of the movie, you have all the Peters going back to their different dimensions, and Holland's taking Toby back, and he's like, what are you gonna do now? And he's like, well, probably I've got a wife, probably due to have a kid soon. Maybe it's time to just stop being Spider-Man, and then we kind of that would lead into a Raimi verse,
Spider-Girl,
okay. Where you could do that. And kind of, it would be real. I would follow it real close to the comics. I know that's
well, it's gonna be a little hard.
It would be hard
because Harry never had a kid.
Yeah, well, even then, you could kind of That's really the thing with me is you can even change it to kind of
you could do it that it's a clone of Norman or
yeah, it's a clone of Norman. Well, or even it's since we're already dealing with multiverse, have it as it's a time. Oh. It's a time thing.
Or where it's from an alternate timeline where Harry had a kid.
Yeah.
And then, that could work too.
Yeah, and then you have maybe come I wouldn't even really I wouldn't even necessarily say you have to make this a trilogy. This could be a great standalone, kind of a Logan style film, where it's about May coming to terms with who she is and that she's been born with this great power,
and you could that could also work.
You got to have great responsibility,
and that could also work too, because you could have it that she wants to let people know she's the daughter of Spider-Man, but she wants to be her own spider, so she designs it like the Riley costume.
Yeah.
Or if you really want to be nerdy, be Well, this is the Raimi-verse Spider-Girl, so I'm gonna make her look like the outfit that Alex Ross made Peter, but it's...
Oh yeah, that would be kind of dope.
Like, not that I wouldn't want her to be in the Ben Reilly costume, but if you wanted to play with it a little bit...
Because I feel like you could have a very plausible reason for the Reilly suit existing, because, I mean, we're looking at a poster of Spider-Man 2 over there. The spider is already so big, it wouldn't be that big of a stretch as May just stretches it.
Yeah, where she's just like, Dad, you made it so big, I figured it might as well just...
be the whole chest.
Be the whole chest. That'd be fun to watch Toby be like, oh, the suit's a little weird, and I don't like how much it shows your butt. Dad! I don't want guys looking at your butt, Mayday.
Trust me, I've dealt with enough ladies doing it to me. Like, you can have, kind of have that kind of
Oh, you can even have, a callback to Spider-Man 2. It's gonna ride up in the crotch a little. Dad!
Yeah.
I just figured you'd know.
That. Yeah. Like I said, I really want to see them do Mayday, but at the same time, I'm also just, I'm so, connected to that character that I'm also just, I'm almost fearful for them doing it, because I don't want them to do it and wrong. Me not like it.
No, because, the problem is, if they were to do, I don't think, I think Marvel would let it happen, but I don't think they care enough to not let people fuck with it, is my biggest problem with that. Because, the fans love Mayday. Tom DeFalco loves Mayday.
Joe Quesada does not.
It's not just Joe. As much as I hate being that guy, a lot of people in Marvel, because they... And I hate... this is my biggest problem with Mayday. She always has to be the stigma of she's a product of the Clone Saga. Which annoys the shit out of me, because there's so many other bad stories in comics that led to good things. And we can let it go and be like, well, at least we got this. Say what you will about how kind of dumb the 2099 universe is. We got Spider-Man 2099 out of it. Say how badly the Ultimate Universe fell apart at the end. We got Miles Morales out of it. For good or for bad, the Clone Saga produced something that a lot of people really love, and I hate that Marvel just will not let go that it's a part of the Clone Saga. Or blame Tom DeFalco, because I get pissed about that, because it's
No, I really get tired of...
It's not his fault.
Trashing Tom DeFalco.
You guys
I really don't like that.
You guys handed him a mess that was unfixable. And he tried his best.
Yeah, and you guys just shit on him for it.
Yeah. It's just, That's why, I don't mind them doing Mayday. I would rather...
I think it's high risk, high reward.
In my opinion...
High risk, and I'm kind of with you. I don't trust them to not fuck it up.
If I were to do it anywhere, I would probably tie it in with the Spider-Verse animated series, just because, first of all, those guys give a shit about Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I feel like if they were to do Mayday, they would...
Well, even, do it as an animated film, just have Toby and Kirsten, and them come back and do the voice work.
Because I think if you got it animated, not only could you do that, you would most likely be able... Tom DeFalco would be like, I don't care if I get paid very little.
I'll sign on.
I'll sign on and I'll write the script. I don't have to direct it. I'll write the script.
Yeah.
Although if it were me, I'd be like, you get him, you get my boy Paul Dini. I know he's mostly wrote in Batman, but the dude
knows how to write.
Dude knows how to write, and he's...
Look at how the Arkham series fell apart after he left.
Not only that, I think one of the things that Paul Dini's writing is so good is because he cares about the characters. And while maybe he's not always super loyal to the original lore, he changes things in a way that it doesn't...
It works with the story.
Yeah.
And it's not a detriment to the story.
Yeah, it actually makes it so that the pieces work cohesively. Because, and this is I know things have to be changed from one medium to another because some things don't translate. There's a reason why they went with Ultimate MJ and Harry in the Raimi films, because it makes more sense for Peter to have known these two since high school instead of meeting them in college.
Yeah.
However, there's certain things you just can't change about the characters. It's the reason why him and I are so frustrated with the MCU Spider-Man, where there's almost no talk of Uncle Ben or great power and great responsibility.
Yeah.
The whole thing that Spider-Man, that's his core. You can't... Once you take the core out, he's not Spider-Man.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's why I worry about if they were to do Mayday, they would...
Find a way to fuck it up.
Yeah. Who would you cast for Mayday if you were to pick anybody?
A very good question.
Maybe the girl that played Ratcatcher 2 in Suicide Squad.
I really like the idea of Shailene. Just because again, it's that tie to the web films.
That'll work too.
I'm trying to think. There was this other girl, this other actress I know. Her last name is Rudd. No relation to Paul.
Oh,
Amy Rudd?
Yeah, I think it is Amy Rudd. I want to say. I think.
I can find it. Give me a second.
But no, to be fair, if we do old Toby, he has to get the skunk stripes, because I'm like, nah, gotta give him them stripes. Gotta make him look like. I don't know why they make Peter.
Emily Rudd. That's it.
Emily Rudd. Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. I don't know why they make Peter look so evil in the MC2 universe. Well, she would be perfect as Mayday. But no, like
I said, those are my two ideas.
Like, those are good
obviously,
ideas.
the miniseries is really the one I was like, I feel like that would probably have the best chance of getting made.
Like, I wanted to get made now.
Because it's just such a good idea.
For me, if I were to do... I don't really have any other... I would love to see... if not like exactly like Rain, but I wouldn't mind seeing an old man Spider-Man story.
Starring Nicholas Hammond.
I was actually just about to say, like...
Nicholas Hammond?
I wouldn't mind seeing that, where he's an older Peter, maybe having that MJ has passed, not because of his radioactive semen, obviously, but
cut that shit out, because that was the dumbest part of that whole story.
Yeah, just that she was dying.
If they had cut that part of it out, it would probably be a pretty damn decent story. That part of it just ruins it.
If I were to because I would have it like that, like Peter had stopped being Spider-Man because she died, but like they were in their 50s, that like MJ just died of some sort of disease, not because
just died of old age, natural causes.
Yeah, or like she caught like some sort of illness or something, but you have it like Peter's like with her in the hospital in her final moments, and he hears the police sirens. Cause I love that scene.
Yeah, the one that's in Rain.
Yeah, where like she like tells him to go, and he thinks it's like she doesn't even want me to be here. Even have it like Peter like almost die. Like I want him to live at the end of the film. I don't want it to be like Old Man Logan where he dies.
Yeah.
I want him to kind of be like renewed. Like, as he's like he's having like a near death experience. He sees MJ, like maybe even have it like it's Toby or like a different younger Peter, and he's like, I'm so sorry. I know I failed you when you told me to go, and like have me like, Peter, I wasn't telling you to go. I was telling you to go get him, Tiger. Like she's like, you didn't need to be there for me. I'd rather you have gone out there doing the thing that made me fall in love with you. What's that? Being my hero. And then, like, he wakes up.
Yeah.
And he's like...
Kind of reminiscent of the Uncle Ben scenes that are in Spider-Man 2.
But, like, have it be, like, that, like... Because, like, I always hate, like... I mean, granted, I love the ending of Logan. Like, I kind of want it to be almost kind of like a... I hate doing
like a feel-good ending?
Well, no, like, kind of like The Dark Knight. Like, as much as we've had gripes about... Like, because one of the things I really like about The Dark Knight Returns is the whole, where he's like, this would be a good death. But at the end of it, he's like, what I thought I was looking for was a good death, but what I really am looking for is a good life. Good enough, at least. Like, that, like, Peter, like, has finally found, like, a reason to, like, kind of keep going. Like, I mean, granted, I know he'll die eventually, but I kind of wanted that, like, he's like, I can't rest at least knowing that I've left New York in a better place than it was, MJ. But don't worry. I'll be with you soon, or something kind of like he's gotten a reason to live, and then like he does some good as Spider-Man. Eventually he passes on. Some other ideas I have. I would love to see them maybe do like Spider-Man life story in a movie. Maybe fix some of the weirder shit in it.
Yeah, like put Mayday in the fucking story.
Yeah, if I were to, I would absolutely make it Mayday.
I still don't know why they did that. It was really fucking stupid.
It probably was more just Chip Zdarsky's like, I don't want to, like, and I'm not saying like he's like I don't want to do what other people have done, sort of thing. Because I do notice he did some weird choices in that. Like, I like that story, but like, we'll talk about its spitiness, I think.
Yeah, I think we're gonna review that this year, along with there's a couple other stories. We'll have to look at my bookshelf and see what we can review.
We'll say that for but yeah, I think sadly I only had one idea, but like it was such a good idea. I kept
I'm really happy you enjoyed my idea, because
your idea was really...
when I was thinking about pitching, I'm like, I don't know how he's gonna feel about me pitching a mini series.
Well, I think it would work really well. I think the problem would be that we'd have to, if we were to do it,
would be like a slow burn.
Well, not that you'd have to convince someone that it's okay to do Spider-Man in a TV setting because, like,
yeah,
I don't know how much CGI has gone with. Where like I think.
Well, I want to do a Spider-Man TV show. Like the fucking Hammond show? No,
because we have CG.
Yeah, I'm like, no, not like the Hammond show. We can do it better.
Yeah, there you go. Which I think is probably because like sadly one of the things that frustrates me about Batman is they're always like, well, we don't want to be like the Adam West show.
People love that show. Why?
Well, it's just because that's Hollywood like
stigma.
Yeah, but like at the same time, I'm like, you don't have to do Adam West. You could just do a Batman show.
Yeah.
Because I have an idea where, even though it's just kind of an off tangent, but I have an idea for a Batman TV series where it's basically Law and Order, but Batman is like a special investigator for the GCPD, where you like, especially because like the first season of that idea I have is it's him, Gordon, and Harvey in a Long Halloween, kind of like Long Halloween, where they're trying to bring that, but like not. But like at the same time, there's like new villains popping up. Like the first episode is them trying to find Zaz. We start like, and like you see like you never see like it's all at night where like it's Batman and Gordon investigating stuff. And, like you have like scenes where Batman goes back to the cave, and he talks to like kind of like having like it be like a police procedural but with Batman. But it would have like some sort of a story. 'Cause, like my idea would be like like. As you go throughout the story, you see Harvey becoming more and more unhinged, eventually, like leading into Two-Face. But it would be like that would be in the background. Is it's about Batman and Gordon solving crimes at night by night. Sort of thing. The only daytime scenes you get are Gordon and the GCPD. If that makes any sense.
Oh, I like that idea.
It certainly would be better than fucking Gotham.
Yeah.
Which, oh god, at some point we're gonna have to review that show, aren't we?
At some point. Till then, like I think this is a good place to wrap it up. We've been almost an hour. But
anyway, guys, if you want, leave your ideas for a Spider-Man script in there.
Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
What would you do with our ideas?
Yeah, and do they suck? Are they good? Should we go fuck ourselves? You want to say that? Feel free to. But I'll tell you one thing: this is the best Spider-Man story I've ever motherfucking had, and that's no bullshit.
Until the next time, guys. I'm Average Joe Squad.
And I'm Zon Gets in 134.
And as always,
we ask you.
Remember the hyphen?
And take care. Spider-Man.